Drone footage. Ukraine troops destroys 4 tanks and Russian radar system in one strike. Ukraine has destroyed 4 Russian armored vehicles and a radar reconnaissance system in the Zaporizhia region, dramatic footage has shown. In a video released on social media and reported by the Operational Command South, a Russian radar system can be seen exploding into a fireball. Shot from above, the radar system, positioned on the outskirts of a wooded area, bursts into flames after a successful Ukrainian strike, after which a plume of white smoke can be seen billowing from the remains. There are then 2 successive explosions, targeting military vehicles hidden in the forest. It comes as Russia claimed it was shipping up to 7,000 tons of grain per day from the southern region. The Russian-controlled part of Zaporizhia is transporting up to 5,000 tons of grain per day by railway and between 1,500 to 2,000 tons per day by vehicle, Yevgeny Balitsky, the head of the Russian-installed administration there, said on social media. He said supplies should rise when the Russia-controlled Ukrainian port of Berdyansk on the Azov Sea starts handling grain soon. The issue is about to be resolved, and we will also start loading dry cargoes to Turkey. Farmers will be able to sell their grain to Turkey, Saudi Arabia, the Middle East, Egypt, the standard markets, Mr. Balitsky added. Ukraine has accused Russia, the world's largest wheat exporter, of stealing grain from territories that Russia's army has seized since Moscow sent troops to Ukraine on February 24th. In July, Mr. Balitsky said the Russian-controlled part of Zaporizhia had reached deals to sell grain to Iraq, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. The territory has harvested 1.5 million tons of grain, Mr. Balitsky said on Saturday, adding it was yet to obtain fertilizers for the upcoming sowing season. And 2 more ships carrying grain have left Ukraine's Chornomorsk port, Turkey's defense ministry said on Saturday, bringing the total number of vessels to leave Ukraine's Black Sea ports under a UN-brokered grain export deal to 27. The Zumrat Anna and MV Ocean S, which are authorized to depart on August 20th, were loaded with 6,300 tons of sunflower oil and 25,000 tons of wheat respectively, the Joint Coordination Center set up to enable safe passage said in a statement. Ukraine's Seaports Authority said on Saturday 3 Ukrainian seaports had begun loading food onto 7 ships, which would deliver 66,500 tons of wheat, corn, and sunflower oil to consumers. Ukraine's grain exports have slumped since the start of the war because its Black Sea ports, a vital route for shipments, were closed, driving up global food prices and prompting fears of shortages in Africa and the Middle East. At the end of July, 3 Black Sea ports were unblocked under a deal between Moscow and Kyiv, brokered by the United Nations and Turkey. The authority said on Facebook the port of Chornomorsk had moored the bulk carriers Andon-Toplak, Filiaz, and Maranta, while Odessa port had begun loading the Yenisei and Kubrasli Y. Bulk carrier Mohammed Y is waiting its turn, as well as the tanker Foil, which is standing at the port of Pivdeniya. The authority said Ukrainian origin food would be delivered to France, Sudan, Turkey, and the Netherlands. Ukraine's infrastructure minister Oleksandr Kubrikov said on Friday a further 10 cargo ships were being loaded with grain in Ukrainian Black Sea ports and being prepared for shipment. He said 25 ships had already been dispatched from the 3 Ukrainian ports, with 630,000 tons of agricultural products on board. Meanwhile, an intelligence update shared by the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense on Thursday offered an explanation of why Russian main battle tanks have been destroyed in such huge numbers in Ukraine. The update suggested that Russia continues to fail to fit and properly employ adequate explosive reactive armor on self-propelled howitzers and other military vehicles, and reveals how Russian forces have been making the same mistake for decades. The heavy attrition of Russian main battle tanks in Ukraine is highly likely partially due to Russia's failure to fit and properly employ adequate explosive reactive armor, ERA. The British government department also revealed how, when used correctly, ERA is capable of degrading the effectiveness of incoming projectiles before they even strike tanks, meaning that Russia's heavy tank losses suggests that Russian forces have not rectified a culture of poor ERA use, which dates back to the First Chechen War in 1994. The same update offered an explanation for why Russia has not properly affixed appropriate armor to its tanks, and it's not because Russia doesn't have access to it. Instead, British intelligence believes that many Russian tank crews lack the training required to properly maintain ERA. That lack of training likely contributes to the widespread incidents of turret ejection, which are well documented in eyewitness videos from Ukraine. British intelligence officials say that the war in Ukraine has demonstrated a large number of failures from Russian commanders to enforce low-level battle discipline and ensure that troops are properly equipped and trained to protect themselves on the battlefield. The cumulative effect of these failures is likely a significant factor behind the poor performance of Russia's forces, the update continues.